Well, hello everyone. I'm Jill Bloom, publisher of Roofing Contractor, Walls and Ceilings, and Building Enclosure. Thank you so much for joining us for a special legal insight conversation with Trent Cotney, the CEO of Cotney Attorneys and Consultants. Art Eisner, the editor of Roofing Contractor, and I have some questions today for Trent that I know you will find very helpful. So Trent, thanks for joining us and good to see you.
Jill, Art, it's really good to see you guys. It's been a busy few weeks, so yeah, we definitely have a lot to catch up on.
We do, and Trent, it was great to see you last week at FRSA. What an incredible show! And first, let me say to congratulate you on your award. Can you tell us about it because it's really cool?
Sure. So at the installation dinner on Thursday night, we had Governor DeSantis there, who was able to speak for a little bit. And then they did the award ceremony, and I was very honored to receive the Bob Campanella Award, which is FRSA's highest honor. It's the equivalent of a Lifetime Achievement Award. So caught me by surprise. Both my wife, Alina, and John Kenny kept it secret from me. So I don't know how they were able to do that, but it was great. I was very honored. I managed to cobble together a decent enough acceptance speech, so that was good. But very honored. We actually hung up the award today in our lobby, so it meant a lot to me. And FRSA has always been a group that I've been very close to. So yes, it was a great evening.
Well, there is no doubt, Trent. It's very well deserved. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Art, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, congratulations, Trent. That is quite an honor and hard to follow up a Lifetime Achievement Award already at this stage of your career. I know there's a lot of gas left in the tank, right? There's still more to come.
Absolutely, and that's the other thing. I was like, wow, you guys are dating me here. So, I look back and I realized that, I had been involved with FRSA for almost 20 years. And, one of the things that I said up there on stage, it was what I was feeling at the time. And it really came from the heart. And, I looked out at that audience, and one of the things that I saw, Art, was I saw the people that I had just created great relationships with over the years, right? And I know that there's a handful of those people that if I called right now, they'd be on my doorstep, and vice versa. And that's what's unique about the roofing industry is, unlike any other industry, there's this shared, brotherhood, sisterhood that we're in that creates these bonds that you don't get anywhere else. It's that, I'll take a bullet for that person kind of bond. And that's what a lot of the passion that I have now comes from, the people that I've met over the years, not just here in Florida, but everywhere, and it doesn't matter where you go. If you're in roofing, you have that same shared common experience that is easily translatable.
All right. Well said. And again, congratulations on that. Let's get back to the bread and butter. In legal news, the federal government recently announced that employers can file H-2B petitions for returning workers under the 2021 temporary visa final rule. That's a mouthful to say. Boil it down, Trent. What do contractors need to know about this?
Right. So if you've got workers that you're already utilizing under H-2B, and look, we've talked in the past about some of the issues with the H-2B process. There's just not enough workers available. They've created some extensions, but you got to share it with, everything from hospitality to ag, to you name it. So, but if you do have those workers, it's possible to go ahead and request that you get those, that you have the ability to have those workers come back. Like everything with immigration, there's a form that needs to be filled out. So this is the I-29 form, I-129 form. But you fill out that form, and there's a good chance that you'll be able to get those workers back again for the next season. So, interesting, we're starting to see more and more of the Biden administration's immigration thought process. It was very muddled to begin with, a lot of missteps, but I think as he starts gaining ground, we're going to start seeing more and more of this ease of access, more availability to get workers into construction. So I'm optimistic about that. I think it's going to be something good for our industry.
All right. Well, and on a related note, the NRCA also issued an action alert to really urge sponsorship of the Workforce for an Expanding Economy Act. It sounds like that's a separate issue. Can you touch on that and why that's important for roofers to get involved with?
Yeah, and I was glad to see NRCA put that out. That's something that we've advocated before on previous roofing days. And the Workforce for Expanding Economy Act, what it does is it creates a more economically relevant system to obtain workers when you need them, and when you don't have to get them, right? So what it does is, at least past versions of this act created a whole new system, an H-2C, which is non-agricultural type immigrant labor that could assist with a variety of construction related issues. There are caveats. Your company has to e-verify, and there are other things that need to be done. But overall, it is a potential solution to get the equivalent of a legal workforce in that you could be able to use when you need them, and only when you need them. And that's really the point. And one of the things that I notice, and you guys may have noticed the same thing, when you talk to politicians or when you talk to legislative aides, there's so much confusion around this immigration issue. There's the idea that there are plenty of workers here to do our jobs. We just need to stop all the immigrants from coming. That's just not the case. There's not any skilled labor anywhere. We can't rely on the national workforce. We have to look beyond that to help supplement it. So I think part of whether or not this act will succeed will be the education that goes behind it. So yes, I was very glad to see, Dwayne Terry and Debbie Dever do a lot of really great work there to get that word out and continue the spread of that.
Well, it sounds like having another category or another tool for roofers to ensure getting workers will certainly be helpful. It does sound like, though, if you're worried about an application process now for next season, is there that year-long kind of lapse or gap?
Yeah, so the H-2B process is a very bureaucratic, lengthy thing. Right? It's a nightmare process. It's not really. You have to plan in advance, right? H-2C, this Workforce for Expanding Economy Act, if it goes through, it would create an easier system that would allow you to get access when you need it, and when you don't have them. So it's not an ongoing kind of thing where once you get somebody from the H-2B, you have to keep them employed. You got to do this other stuff. The idea is it creates a little bit more ease of use, and there are some, like I said, there are some checks and balances in place through e-verify and some of the other things. But overall, I think it's a much better program that is designed to work with the realities of construction. And that's the key is, you can come up with whatever legislation you want, but if it doesn't solve the problem or doesn't help the issue, then it's not working well, right? And right now, I don't think H-2B does that. So I've always been a big proponent of this act, and previous years, I think I'm optimistic that this is the right administration to see it to the finish line.
All right. Well, while we have you, I wanted to run by some recent headlines on roofingcontractor.com. We touched on this last time, but consolidation in the roofing industry is really starting to gain momentum. We were really kind of prophetic looking at it. Like I said, the last time we spoke. Since then, we've seen major moves amongst contractors and manufacturers in the consolidation space. Did any of the recent news that I'm talking about come as a surprise to you? And is this really just the beginning?
So yeah, you guys have been all over it. I think I read Carlisle bought Henry, and Texas had a couple of big acquisitions, and Ken Kelly and Reliant, Kelly Roofing and Reliant. There are a lot of these types of either acquisitions or strategic partnerships that are being developed. And I think the time is right for that. It's still a good market for acquiring businesses, and it's a good time to sell your business, right? So I think you're going to have some additional consolidation. On the distribution and manufacturing side, this materials issue that we've all been living through, I think, has opened some eyes, right? It has shown the cracks in our supply chain. And I think from this, what you're going to see is a different way that you go to market with how you distribute goods. And I think part of that is consolidating efforts, right? I think you'll see lines consolidated. I think you will see expansion into different products, but I would anticipate that these smaller manufacturing companies are going to start to get gobbled up if they want to, right? That's what I would see. On the contracting side, you also have the same pressure, right? You got the same pressure, lack of labor, lack of materials. It makes sense to join forces. You spread the burden, but you also spread the wealth. So I think you will continue to see these type of acquisitions pop up as some of these companies that may have leadership that are a little bit older are looking to phase out. It's a perfect time for some of these larger contractors to gain some additional geographic territory. So yeah, it's been exciting news. And again, you guys are all over it. That's usually where I see it first. So
I appreciate that, Trent. Let's put on your consultant hat for just another minute. If there are contractors out there that may be interested in selling, or at least trying to attract some attention to themselves, what's your recommendation to them to get a little bit of a spotlight?
sure. So the number one thing that you need to do is, if you are interested in selling your business, is you need to get your books right? And we have a very active mergers and acquisition group. We do a lot of valuation and consulting on that end. And I can tell you, one of the first things that I see that's a nightmare are the books, right? If your books aren't appealing to me when I'm looking at them, then they're not going to be appealing to anybody that wants to buy your business, right? And that's why I just put it plainly. If your dog has fleas, I'm going to be the first to tell you. So that's the first thing, is you got to be honest with yourself. If you don't know how to use QuickBooks, or you're not good with accounting, hire a real CPA, go through, clean up your books, maximize it from the standpoint of trying to make your business look like something that is worth value. Protect your intellectual property. That means a lot. A lot of these businesses are being bought solely because of their name. So do you have trademarks? Do you have copyrights? Do you have patents? Do you have those kind of things? Are they valuable, right? Have you secured the domain names? Have you secured the phone numbers? All of the social media, right? We had one mergers and acquisition where they paid in excess of 6 figures just for the social media. So that there's significant value in all that stuff. But before you go to market, you really need to clean your stuff up. And Art, I always say it's like this, right? If you're about to sell your old car, you go wash it, right? You clean out the inside, you make sure that gum is removed from the seat, all that stuff, you clean it up, right? You got to do the same thing with your business. You don't want it looking ratty when you present it to market. So that would be my advice, is to do some homework up front before you go to sell it. That way you'll maximize your chances of success.
All right, good advice there. We did talk about the success of FRSA. IRE 2021 in Las Vegas is just around the corner. I know you'll be there. Trent, this will be a bigger show. Talk to me about what you think it will be like to have the industry back together again in that kind of environment.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great event. Brandy and everybody over at Informa have been working around the clock to make sure that this is going to be a success. So, I'm excited for it. We're going to have a lot of our crew, both legal and consulting, out there. And there's a lot to do and a lot to see. So it's going to be exciting to see everybody. It's been almost, it was, I guess, February of 2020. So it's been a while. But yeah, we're real excited, looking forward to it.
And you guys, your entire team will be busy again presenting. Talk to me about what you're looking forward to as far as the sessions and the information you'll be sharing with the industry.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of different sessions. Ben Briggs and I are actually doing one on top 5 immigration issues. That was one that we did back in February, and everyone seemed to like it, so we're back again. We've got a great panel discussion on primarily it's going to be on the materials issue. We're going to have Ken Kelly on that from the residential standpoint. Michelle with Rackley will be there from the commercial. I'll have John Kinney who will talk about the consulting, and I'll talk about the legal. So we're going to do a little bit of a roundtable there, go over all the issues with, what does COVID-19 business look like? What are material delay issues, material pricing issues? So that, I think, is a must-see. And then John's got a separate one that he's doing on customer care and some service related issues. So we definitely have a busy schedule. It is something that I'm looking forward to, but I'm also, even now, I'm trying to make sure I've got everything I need, the PowerPoints and everything else. It's all hands on deck for the next couple of weeks until we go, but it'll be exciting.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the panel discussion. I know you and the other presenters you mentioned that are no strangers to our audience. You spoke about that issue during the virtual IRE during that session, but certainly the situation has changed a lot since March. What do you hope contractors can take away from that by paying attention this time around?
Yeah, so the virtual session, our reviews were fantastic, and that Brandy asked us, "Hey, can you come back and switch things up and do it again?" And we were like, "Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to come back and talk about it again." And what is different this time is the materials issue, right? That wasn't really an issue back in March, so we focused in March more on vaccines and HR policies and safety and things of that nature. I just had a prep session with everybody that's going to be on that. And I told them, I was like, 75% of this is going to be on the materials issue because that is the hot button item, right? And what I think is really important for the audience is it's one thing to hear it from me, like I can talk all day long about it, but you get to hear it from, leaders of the industry, both residential, commercial and consulting. You get to hear every aspect, every angle. And I know we're going to have a lot of good questions there. So real excited about that. The other thing I should mention is we do have a double booth there. It's right near NRCA 2848, and we're going to try to set up some meetings there, and I may be able to do some additional. I'm working right now to see if I can do some additional speaking there on the floor, maybe with some manufacturers, but we'll see. It's always sort of a last minute thing there, but we got a lot going on, man. It's like every IRE, there's always way too much to do in too little time, but it'll be good to get back and see everybody.
Well, Trent, no doubt if you start talking, I know people will start listening. So good to hear about that. One of the strange things about having the IRE in August this time around is that it does coincide with our annual State of the Industry and Roofing Report survey that goes out annually every year. This year, again, sponsored by Cottney Attorneys and Consultants. Trent, please talk to us about what you're looking forward to from that survey, and if anything, what did you learn from being involved last year that you hope roofers get out of it again?
Yeah, absolutely. So, absolutely fantastic information that we got out of the State of the Industry last year. And for those of you that haven't attended this before, you need to attend it because you get statistical information, real world information that is useful. And last year, the answers to the questions that we got, we were able to use that to help us project kind of where we thought the market was going, right? And it doesn't matter what segment of the industry you're in. It doesn't matter whether you're a contractor, a supplier, manufacturer, consultant, whatever. The information that's contained in that State of the Industry is really valuable. Now, I know this time, we're going to have a lot of different questions. We're going to focus some on materials, some other things, but it is a must-see event. I sat there and yeah, we are sponsoring, but I was taking notes nonstop because that kind of data you don't get your hands on, right? And it is incredibly useful. Plus the commentary. I think John Kenny did a great job last year, giving the common sense viewpoint. So really looking forward to it. I really encourage everybody to attend. I think it's going to be a fantastic event.
Great. We are too, Trent. Thanks. Jill, back to you.
Yes, I'm so glad you guys were talking about State of the Industry because we'll be putting out all the details so people can attend the webinar for that. But also before we have the webinar, we will be e-blasting out the survey. So if you get that survey, please we definitely are appreciative of your time to give us that feedback when you get that email. Trent, it's always great talking to you. And again, great seeing you at FRSA just this past week. And everyone, thanks for watching and listening. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Trent at cottneycl.com, or you can reach out to us at roofingcontractor.com or wconline.com. While you're there, make sure you sign up for our free e-newsletters. Check out the amazing platform for our new e-magazine and register for the website. It's all free, so you can stay up to date on all these great interviews we do with Trent. And as always, stay safe and healthy. We look forward to seeing you next time.